Oh, see. Senor Navarro will be pleased. His shipment from the lab has finally arrived. I should take it to the workshop, as Senor Navarro asked. I need to pick up the thermal box before I do anything else. I have no business in there. Senor Navarro is in the workshop, not upstairs. I should deliver the thermal box to Senor Navarro instead of wandering around. I'll unbox these later. At this rate, we'll need more shelves to put all the souvenirs on. I shouldn't leave yet. I have nothing to do outside. I'll grab something to drink later. Madre mia, what beautiful paintings. Madre mia, I'm looking forward to seeing what Mrs. Bird has cooked for dinner tonight. I have no business in there. There's no time for snacks. I'll unbox these later. Mrs. Bird always takes such good care of us. I should help her out sometime. This is a DNA sampler, right? I shouldn't touch those. They might be dangerous. I shouldn't... Another new machine. I wonder what Senor Navarro is going to use this one for. There's always a new project with Senor. Like the seasons, constantly changing, growing. Excuse me, Senor Navarro. The delivery you were expecting is here.
Marvelous. Joaquin, is everything in order?
Yes, the entire shipment has been delivered, although the pilot took off quickly due to the rain.
And the thermal box, has it come through unscathed?
It seems to be in great condition.
Superb. Could you please put the thermal box on the desk for me? Please put the thermal box on the desk, Joaquin.
If you don't mind my asking, Senor, what's inside?
Seedlings of a prototype flower we've been working on at the Navarro Labs. They've come all the way from our Mumbai branch.
Dios mío, from the other side of the world. All that effort for a few seedlings. Why?
These seedlings have the capacity for unparalleled healing. If we succeed, they could revolutionize healthcare.
So, the flower's potential isn't certain?
Not at present, but we're nearing a breakthrough. After years of genetic modification, we're at a decisive juncture. All that's left is to grow the flower to fully test its attributes. In the lab, we call this flower Miraculous.
How will this flower change medicine?
It has been engineered to carry a plethora of different healing properties. This is the first step toward a greater and more ambitious goal. Eventually, this flower may lead to the extinction of all diseases. In the lab, we call this flower Miraculous.
Miraculous? Is that related to the Plinius project?
Miraculous is the result of the Plinius project. Joaquin, how do you know about that project? Have we spoken about it before?
Actually, Senor, I overheard you talking with a scientist during my flora consultancy at your lab in Venezuela. I didn't mean to pry.
Don't worry about it, Q. Curiosity is natural. Now, would you mind sharing what you heard?
Only something about the Miraculous and gene extraction from Andean nightshade?
Ah, yes. Nightshade played a vital role in Project Plinius. Even on its own, its anti-inflammatory properties could be a lifesaver. Now just imagine its incredible potential when combined with other healing properties.
Project Plinius really does sound special.
It is. I just wish I could have shared more about it with you before. But it was crucial to maintain secrecy during the early stages of the project to avoid any leaks to our competitors. However, those days are behind us, so please feel free to ask me any questions you have right now.
Could you tell me why the project was named Plinius?
Have you ever heard of Pliny the Elder? His Latin name was Plinius. He was a natural philosopher during the days of the Roman Empire.
A student of nature.
Exactly. The same as you, Q. Plinius wrote the Historia Naturalis, arguably the first global catalog of medicinal plants in science. He was truly ahead of his time.
To be honest, Senor, Plinius sounds a lot more like you than me.
It appears we both have something in common with Plinius. Wouldn't you agree? In recognition of Plinius's timeless influence on humanity, I named my work after him with the goal of saving lives, not using thousands of medical plants, but with just a single one. A flower possessing the combined healing properties of numerous others.
Can you share the secret behind cultivating such a remarkable flower? What's the origin of the project?
That goes back to my days at the University of Valparaiso. In my youth, I was bursting with ideas about how to improve the world. One of them was to create a flower that possessed countless healing properties. Back then, my peers deemed it impossible, branding me a dreamer. Yet their skepticism only fueled my resolve to prove them wrong.
And did you, Senor?
Not at that time, regrettably. The university turned down my funding request, killing my project before it even began. It wasn't until my company began to prosper that I was able to resurrect the research project. My global business travels afforded me the opportunity to study medicinal flowers all over the world.
Inspecting plants from all corners of the world. I'm a bit jealous, Senor.
Oh, you would have enjoyed it, Q. The multitude of flowers and their properties was quite a sight. However, that took a back seat until my company found its financial footing. It's been just a decade since I was able to allocate several labs specifically for Project Plinius. And in 10 years of diligent work, we've engineered a flower that possesses multiple combined healing properties.
Can you share the secret behind cultivating such a remarkable flower?
The secret is gene modification. We began with 2 medicinal flowers, designating one as the DNA donor and the other as the host. We then used bacteria that are naturally capable of transferring the donor's DNA to the host they infect. And with each successful crossbreed, we ascended closer to the apex, the ultimate medicinal flower, the Miraculous.
That's incredible! What sort of capabilities do you think this flower might have?
If we manage to unlock its full potential, the Miraculous could detoxify and regenerate body cells, and even heal conditions as profound as blindness and deafness.
Sounds like the Miraculous is truly capable of performing miracles, Senor. Have you brought it to Esperanza to start testing its capabilities?
Unfortunately, no. We're struggling with growing the prototype, as it never blossoms. The thermal box you brought contains the last seedlings from the original batch.
I don't understand, Senor. Why bring the Miraculous here, then?
As a final attempt, I decided to try cultivating it here on Isla Esperanza. Together with you, Q, we will nurture it so that it flowers.
Senora, I doubt I'm the right fit for this task.
Nonsense, Q. You're the most skilled floral expert I've ever known. If anyone can make the miraculous flower, it's you.
I appreciate your trust in me, but what happens if we're unsuccessful?
Then, Navarro Labs will have to re-engineer the flower pairings. It would take another year to recreate a prototype of this caliber. Do you understand the weight of our task here?
Absolutely, senor.
So, can I rely on you?
It would be my honor.
That's the spirit, Q. Then what are we waiting for? Let's take a look at those seedlings. Enough waiting around. Let's see how those little sprouts are holding up.
Oh no, poor babies.
What's going on, Q?
All this traveling has really damaged the seedlings.
Let me see them. We need to replant them now.
We can grab my tools from the greenhouse and head straight to the jungle.
Hold on, Joaquin. Aren't we planting them inside the greenhouse?
You previously mentioned that the flower wouldn't bloom under controlled conditions. We shouldn't repeat the same mistake.
But due to the morning rain showers, the soil is too damp. The seedlings could end up waterlogged. We should keep them in the greenhouse for now, where they're safe.
With all due respect, planting them in the greenhouse will only kill the seedlings faster. They need Mother Nature.
We don't have time for this.
Senor, rest assured, I will prevent the seedlings from drowning.
How will you do that?
The rain has come and gone for most of the morning. As soon as the weather calms down, we'll replant the seedlings using the dry soil we've stored in the greenhouse.
And if the rain comes back?
I know places in the jungle where the seedlings will be sheltered from the rain. Certain trees in those areas also absorb a lot of water, keeping the soil mostly dry. Please, trust me to do what I do best, senor.
Okay, Q. I've expressed my faith in your abilities before, and I stand by it now. As soon as the weather improves, we'll take the seedlings outdoors.
I won't let you down. I should grab everything we need before Senor Navarro finishes preparing for the hike. The bag of soil isn't on the table. Could it be somewhere around it? No harm will come to my beautiful plants. They're safe in here. I don't need this, but the shovel should be around here somewhere. I don't need it empty. My tool belt must be around here somewhere. My tool belt. The storm will calm down. It has to. Better put all the tools into the wheelbarrow. No, I've collected everything I need from here. Empty pots, blank canvases for nature's art. Just waiting for the right touch. All done. Senor Navarro, all done. Senor Navarro should be here at any moment.
Regrettably, Q, the rain doesn't appear to be stopping anytime soon.
Actually, senor, the storm will soon pass. We just need a little patience.
What makes you so certain?
The clouds are gradually shifting. The westerly wind will bring in some lighter clouds before long.
You might be onto something.
It won't be much longer now.
Very well. We'll wait.
Senor, if the Miraculous blooms, what do you intend to do with it?
Once we've procured the medicine, it will need to be tested and approved by the government. Then we'll distribute it to people in need all around the world.
If only Camilla had had access to the Miraculous back then.
You seem upset, Q. Is everything all right?
Forgive me, I just remembered a friend. Someone the Miraculous flower could have saved.
Were they close to your heart?
See, someone very dear. It's been a while since I've delved into those bittersweet memories. Life in Venezuela was certainly not a walk in the park, but it had its moments of joy.
If you feel like sharing, I'd love to hear more about it.
Sure, senor. We do have some time to kill after all. My roots trace back to a small village, a place of unmatched beauty. That's where I spent most of my early life.
Oh, I'd assumed you'd always lived in the city where we met. What made you leave your village?
Nature, as beautiful as it is, can also be unrelentingly brutal. A hurricane swept through and laid waste to our entire village. We were left with no choice but to gather what remained of our belongings and leave. I was just 8 when we started a new life in the city.
Such a big change at a young age. Adjusting to city life must have been tough.
The city was a stark contrast to our village, senor. We had no land for growing food, and not enough money to buy it either. Not to mention all the people and buildings, it was suffocating.
Sounds like a real culture shock.
It was quite an adjustment for me, but my parents managed better. My mother started a flower shop in our modest home, and my father found employment as an expert on flora. As soon as I was of age, I followed in my father's footsteps.
And how are your parents doing now, by the way?
I never went to university, senor. Everything I know comes from my father.
And yet your knowledge surpasses that of most people who have a formal education. Your father must have been an extraordinary mentor.
He didn't talk much, but when he did, every word carried a wealth of wisdom.
Wisdom lies not in the number of words spoken, but in their weight. It seems that your father understood that well.
I'm not sure why, but his philosophy struck a chord with me. He's the reason I became an expert on flora, too. I don't just plant trees and flowers. I try to recreate the harmony that my father taught me to respect.
And how are your parents doing now, by the way?
He taught me how to find peace in the wilderness and to listen to the gentle rustle of leaves and the babble of streams. He ingrained in me an understanding of nature's language. He taught me to respect it and live in harmony with it.
Learning to commune with nature is a rare gift. I can see his influence in your work.
I'm glad. He's the reason I became an expert on flora. I don't just plant trees and flowers. I try to recreate the harmony that my father taught me to respect.
And how are your parents doing now, by the way?
The generous pay you offer me greatly contributes to their well-being.
I'm glad they're doing fine, Q. But your pay isn't me being generous. It's a recognition of your worth.
That's kind of you to say, senor. Still, I never fully understood why you chose me for the position at... The position of an expert on flora at your lab in Venezuela.
During our search for the Andean nightshade, Both you and your father offered invaluable local insights. It was evident we needed someone with your expertise on the project. I've always been glad you accepted the offer, but honestly, I never understood why your father didn't.
My father is a hard man to win over, senor. Trust doesn't come easily to him. When he saw you negotiating with the guerrilla army during our expedition, any trust he had in you disappeared.
Sadly, the only way to cross the mountains and reach the Nightshade was through their territory. I had to put the success and security of our expedition first.
I understood that. My father, however, didn't.
I take it he didn't condone your decision to work with me either.
Not at first, but he came to terms with it after seeing the joy it brought me.
I'm delighted to hear that. Truly, your work radiates love and passion, Q. If you give even a fraction of the care you've shown to other plants to the Miraculous, I'm convinced it will flower.
Thank you, senor. I'll give it my all. I only hope that if the Miraculous flowers, its medicine will reach everyone who needs it. The job here, of course.
The island needed someone with a deep love of nature to look after it. During your time at Navarro Labs, I saw that affection for nature, combined with a deep understanding and attentiveness. I'm not sure if the folks at Navarro Labs ever told you how valuable your help truly was.
I wasn't aware that my work had had such an impact.
Of course it did, because passionate people like you can transform the world around them. And I strive to keep such people close. Joaquin Diaz, your astonishing professional competence and personal qualities are why you're here. Don't ever forget that.
Thank you, senor.
I also have no doubt you'll do your best to tend to the Miraculous.
I'll give it my all. I only hope that if the Miraculous flowers, its medicine will reach everyone who needs it. Especially those residing in the secluded parts of Venezuela.
Are you talking about those dreadful disease outbreaks?
Yes. Too many lives have been claimed already.
The friend you spoke of earlier, were they one of the victims? You're under no obligation to share. But I have personally experienced how bottled up grief can erode you from the inside. A conversation can sometimes lighten the weight on your shoulders.
I miss her.
What was her name?
Camilla.
Seems like the rain is subsiding.
Then it's time to go, senor.
Agreed. But once we're done replanting the Miraculous, I'd be honored to hear more about Camilla. Now, lead the way, Q.
This storm came out of nowhere. I hope the seedlings will be okay.
Let's talk once we're safely back in the mansion.
Senor!
I've got you.
Honestly, senor, I'll be okay. We need to head back to the seedlings.
What we need is to confirm you have no fractures, Q. Once this storm subsides, Dr. Gonzalez will be flown in.
There's really no need for her to make the trip. I'm fine.
Q, your injury might be severe. You need to rest.
I'll rest after we've ensured the safety of the seedlings, senor.
Joaquin, the chances of them surviving such a storm are extremely slim. It's unfortunate, but no one could have predicted this.
We can't abandon them. They are still alive, senor.
Regardless, you're in no state to go back there.
Senor, it's my obligation. I proposed that we plant them outside. I exposed them to this risk.
And I was the one who agreed to it. The blame lies on my shoulders.
I should share part of the guilt, too.
If that's your wish, we'll bear the responsibility together. However, reaching the seedlings now is far too risky. I'll inspect them once the storm has passed.
If they don't survive the storm, what then?
Chances are they're already dead. I suppose I should notify the lab to restart the gene modification process from the beginning. We'll have another opportunity to plant the Miraculous in a year's time.
I urge you to reconsider, senor. Please let me inspect the seedlings first.
You really are stubborn, aren't you?
I can't help it, senor. I just believe they still have a fighting chance.
Maybe they do, Q, but reaching the seedlings now is far too risky. I'll inspect them once the storm has passed. And you'll stay here and recuperate.
Thank you, senor. I'll put my faith in Mother Nature's judgment until then.
Good. But it will be some time before the storm passes. Perhaps you'd like to resume where we left off and tell me about your friend, Camilla.
Camilla and I, we'd been together for almost 6 years. We were in love. I planned on proposing. I even got a ring. Then fate intervened. Camilla was dispatched as a humanitarian aid worker during the yellow fever outbreak. Unfortunately, they weren't able to contain the first wave of the epidemic. That vile disease took the lives of all the aid workers, including Camilla.
My condolences, Joaquin. It sounds like Camilla was truly a kind soul.
She was inspiring. Camilla kept helping everyone until her last breath, senor. Her last breath. A tragedy like that should never happen to anyone. So I can't help but wonder. Maybe, just maybe, the Miraculous could help avoid such disasters.
I can't promise it will, but it is certainly possible.
The possibility that it'll save lives is all I need. I'll make sure the Miraculous blooms, senor.
Just be prepared, Q. The seedlings might not survive the storm.
I have faith they will. I'm sure Mother Nature will protect them.
Huh. I guess Joaquin was right.
Senor Navarro and I were optimistic after the seedlings survived the storm. I spent the following months tending to them. All the miraculous flowers grew strong and healthy. After 8 long months, one of the miraculous flowers finally bloomed. It was beautiful and radiant. I'll take the Miraculous to the workshop. Senor Navarro will be happy it has bloomed. I could really use a warm coffee right about now. That's not where I should be heading now. Senor Navarro, I've brought the fully grown Miraculous.
I still can't believe it has finally flowered. May I? Joaquin, can I take a look at the Miraculous? I was wrong for ever doubting you, Q.
Water under the bridge, senor.
No, I should have put more faith in you. It's thanks to your hard work that we can finally process the medicine and start the initial tests.
How long before the medicine is ready for distribution?
Well, there are a good few years ahead of us. First, we'll need to do an internal analysis of the synthesized medicine. If all seems fine, we'll then proceed with more rigorous testing. Starting with isolated cells, then animals, and finally humans. It'll be a long journey with lots of hurdles on the way.
Is there anything else I can do to help?
Cultivating and taking care of the Miraculous is more than enough.
Senor, I can do more, if you let me.
Q, you've been pushing yourself relentlessly for the past 8 months. Perhaps it's time you took a breather. A vacation might do you good.
I can't, senor. The flowers need my attention.
Rest assured, the flowers will be well cared for. I'll arrange for one of the gardeners from Navarro Labs to step in while you're away. Just make sure to instruct them about the finer points of tending to the Miraculous.
I hope they're up to the task. The Miraculous needs a delicate touch.
I'm sure they'll rise to the occasion.
Well, in that case, maybe a vacation won't hurt. But everything back home reminds me of Camilla. I'm not sure if I'm ready to face it.
That's something you'll only discover once you're back.
Perhaps. Every time I think of Camilla, the pain's still there, as fresh as ever.
You should remember her with pride, not sorrow. Her deeds were inspiring.
You're right. I can't keep running away from my feelings forever.
Good. I'll schedule some cover for you as soon as possible.
Thank you, senor. I won't keep you any longer. But before I go, I wanted to say that no matter what, I really believe in the Miraculous.
Thank you, Q. I only hope that our commitment doesn't go unrewarded, and that the Miraculous fulfills its potential.
I have no doubt it will. The flower, after all, is your creation.
It's not mine, it's ours. Behind the creation of the Miraculous are both the brilliant minds and the passionate people who took such good care of it. And its medicine could one day become our legacy to humankind.